Hello everyone. For this lesson, we are going to be talking about examining sources in history. Our last lesson was about identifying what sources historians use to examine and look at history. Primary sources and secondary sources are the main focus of evidence that historians use to try to understand what happened in the past. So for this lesson, we're going to examine those sources. How do we source a source? The word source here can be used as a verb, an action word, and as a noun. So we're going to source a source. We are going to annotate a source. We probably won't be taking a look at close reading in this lesson. So how do we source a source? It kind of sounds like something that you would see in a Dr. Seuss book. So what practices do historians use to examine sources? When historians read sources, they first try to figure out what the source is saying and what the author's point of view is. Again, the point of view in history is the person's opinion. Three practices that historians use. We're going to take a look at two of them today. We are going to practice annotating. Now you are also going to see a quiz on annotating. One of your assignments this week is going to be a quiz. I'm going to give you a historical picture and you're going to have to demonstrate how to annotate it. And then we're going to source a source. All right, we're going to talk about what that means. First, here's the word annotate. What does annotate mean? It is the act of using symbols and notes to show what you are thinking while you read. When you annotate, you interact with the source by underlining sections of the text, circling words, phrases, or images, and writing notes to yourself in the margins. So essentially what you're doing when you take a look at a historical picture such as this on the left here, you are observing what's going on in the picture. And it may seem a little silly because you may feel like, well, I'm just stating the obvious. But what this can do is help you organize your thoughts and help you identify a main idea or a theme that's going on in this picture. It can also help you identify what is this picture trying to tell us about the time period that's depicted and what's going on maybe in society, what's going on in history with technology. All right, so here we have this picture and things are annotated for you as an example. So this man is circled and it says men were in charge. All right, how do we know that he is in charge? Well, first of all, he's standing. He's standing over another individual, looking down at that individual. What do we know already about history? Typically, have men always been in charge in most societies? Yes. This individual, a woman, is also circled. And down here it says women had to bend down a lot working on the machines. All right, so that's simply an observation. Maybe that at this point is all we're doing by circling her and noticing that she has to bend down. This person has also noticed the caption under the picture. It says illustration of a power loom weaving drawn by Thomas O'Larn. So the person circled the words power loom. I think a power loom is the machine in the front, all right? So this person is thinking that this machine is the power loom. And they drew an arrow to it saying, are they making paper? Well, maybe we can't tell. Maybe we don't know. That does look like paper. So writing even your questions down about what you think this may be can be very helpful. This person also circled the author, or the illustrator, I should say, Thomas O'Larn. Who was Thomas O'Larn? We don't know. But there's also the date here, 1835. And that should be circled as well and noted. 1835. We could ask ourselves, what is going on in 1835 that can help us understand this picture? So what we've just gone through is an example of how to annotate a picture. Now, like I said before, you're going to see a quiz this week, and I'm going to give you a historical picture, and you're going to have to annotate it, very similar to this. We're going to practice that skill throughout the course too. So I'm going to skip down through a couple of these pages. We're not going to worry about those for this lesson. Now I want to talk to you about how to source a document. Historians source a document to help them figure out the author's point of view and why they might have it. To source, historians ask themselves these questions whenever they investigate a source. So, to investigate a source, we ask ourselves, who wrote the source? What do we know about the author? Maybe we don't know who the author is or who the illustrator is at all. There are times when that happens. When was it written? Is there a date associated with the source? Where was it written? What can we draw either from the picture or the text of a source that can tell us where, when, and who? Furthermore, what type of source is this? Is this primary or secondary? Who was the intended audience? Meaning, this source was created for some purpose. Who was this source meant to reach? Why was it written, and what was the author's purpose? What is the author's point of view? Okay, again, what is the author's opinion? A source, as a verb, is the act of determining who created a document, when the document was created, where it was created, and why it was created. Now, here's a confusion caution. So take a moment and really pay attention to this. The word source is used to identify a historical document and the process used to identify who created it and when, where, and why it was created. So you source, verb, a source. An example would be, Matilda sourced the historical source by identifying that it was created in 1910 by the President of the United States. The author is the person or group who created the source. The purpose is why something was created. And the audience is the person or group of people that a message is for. Historians. Let's come back to our lunchroom fight. Sourcing practice number 1. This is another account of the lunchroom fight from the introduction to this lesson. Max wrote this account because the principal asked all witnesses to write down what they saw. Max said, "That kid is psycho. He turned around and punched me out of nowhere. Me and my friends were standing in line, just joking around, and he turned around and punched me for no reason. He's messed up and creepy. Ask anyone." 1. Who wrote this? What do you know about the author? I'm going to have you answer this open-ended question in the Edpuzzle now. Next, question 2. Why was it written? What was the author's purpose? So looking back up here, make sure you're referring to this quote by Max to answer question number 2 in the Edpuzzle now. And question 3. I want you to tell me, what is the point of view of the author concerning why the lunchroom fight happened? What is Max, based on his quote up here, what is Max telling us his point of view or opinion is of the lunchroom fight? And we are going to stop there for this lesson. So today we talked about annotating, how to annotate, why we annotate, using this example, and we talked about source, how to source a source.